the Spotlight. I'm Mike Arsenault. Every week we take a look at a handful of the most interesting and entertaining stories produced across the Global News Network. Now, for many throughout the pandemic, a commitment to health and fitness has been difficult. The willpower needed to get your body moving every day isn't easy, but that wasn't the case for one runner from Saskatchewan.
When the pandemic hit, the outdoor trails were all we had to stay active and fit safely. For a Prince Albert woman, that's when she got started on a running streak that was initially to go for 100 days.
And then my son said, well, Mom, it would be really cool if you did a year. To which I said, let me think about that, because that's a big commitment. So I thought about it a couple of days, and then I'm like, okay, I'm all in, let's do it.
So Evans ran a minimum of a mile every day until she reached 365 days, and along the way, the 48-year-old physiotherapist inspired others to join her, like co-workers and her daughter Haley.
It's so important to just take care of your health and spend time with family and just be close to those you love and take time out of your day to make them important and make them a part of your life. So I think it's nice that we get to spend extra time together throughout the day.
Lisa and I and another coworker started working out every day in the gym, and she just has this way of when she says you can do something, you believe it.
Looking back, Evans says there were definitely days that it was a challenge, especially with the Saskatchewan weather. But when she thinks about those days these days, they are the ones that have changed her to remain active.
Whether it's running or biking or any kind of activity is just really pivotal in health, physical health, mental health, a combination of both. And I think these COVID times have been trying for everyone, and that's really kind of come to light, is that connection to people and staying connected just gets the endorphins flowing and makes you smile.
She's just helped me so much, and I've wanted to keep going and see how far I can get.
Lisa and Haley hope to complete a 5K event in less than a half an hour later this summer. Derek Bidwell, Global Sports.
Running at least a mile every day for a year, I definitely couldn't do it. Running has never been my thing, but I know many people like Lisa get both physical and mental benefits from running. And I don't think enough attention was paid to the fact that to do this for a year, that would have included dozens of runs in below freezing temperatures. I tip my cap to Lisa and her crew. To Alberta now, where a new app has been created to help preserve the Blackfoot language among Indigenous youth and further connect them to their culture and heritage.
Keeping a language alive. Originally from the Piikani Nation, Eldon Yellowhorn hopes to revive the Blackfoot language with a new online app he helped develop as part of a team from Simon Fraser University.
If we allow the language to go silent, then we lose a big part of our identity. And what does it mean to be Blackfoot if nobody speaks the language anymore?
The program translates words from English to Blackfoot, allowing users to build phrases. Using oral tradition, an important part of Blackfoot culture, Yellowhorn's voice pronounces the words, passing the language from person to person. Yellowhorn says the program is meant to bridge the gap between generations, helping elders spread the language.
If you only speak with an elder or somebody once a week, by the time you go to meet them again, you've forgotten the lessons you learned the last time, So this helps to keep people refreshed in their use of the language.
As the Lethbridge Friendship Center's youth coordinator, Latoya Healy creates cultural programming for Indigenous youth.
A lot of our youth clientele who comes through our doors are actually looking and seeking to find out more about their culture and about their roots.
She's excited about the possibilities of digital programs like the app for anyone trying to tap into their heritage.
Great approach towards reclaiming our language and reclaiming our identity, because it kind of gives these kids easier access.
Created in partnership with the Pagan Board of Education, Yellowhorn doesn't see the technology limited to the Blackfoot community.
There are millions of people who live in traditional Blackfoot territory, and why can't they contribute some of their energy in helping preserve this language?
A Cree version of the program is expected to be developed by fall. Eric Bay, Global News.
Eldon really made a great point that non-Indigenous people living on Blackfoot territory could also use the app to help the preservation of the language and interact with their neighbors in Blackfoot. And language is definitely a use it or lose it scenario. Very cool stuff. Staying in Alberta, where a seed library has been created to allow green thumbs and non-green thumbs alike to try to grow different types of food.
lifting the lid on something big.
In here we have some fava beans.
Planting the seeds for something new in Calgary. Stocking the shelves for a free seed library.
It will get moved into envelopes to be exchanged.
Donated seeds for all kinds of things.
Coriander, tomatoes, radishes.
All from plants grown locally. An idea whose time has come.
A lot of people spending time at home over the pandemic got really excited about growing more, having more control over their own food, being an interest in gardening, and this is sort of that next step.
Taking it in a suitable setting.
Chard, a poppy, some sprouts and some different kinds of seeds, and the robin and the worm. They're also a big part of gardens.
These mural artists are among 30 volunteers involved in getting the seed library going.
And it's community driven, and it's a bunch of different people coming together to grow something brighter for the future.
Coming together in a space donated by this independent bookstore.
Really big on community building, and I love gardening. It's just nice to know that you can go somewhere and get what you need for free.
Inviting gardeners to donate whatever they're growing.
This is mixed mustard greens.
Planning to start exchanging seeds this fall, hoping that going local all the way will help give Calgary gardeners the edge they need.
We live in such a challenging place to grow. We're under that Chinook arch. We get really intense weather. So the more seasons that seed has spent in our local environment, the better it's going to do.
Looking forward to sharing all the good things that'll get their start here.
Peppers, potatoes, garlic, all sorts of herbs.
Gil Tucker, Global News.
I have to give Gil Tucker credit there. I don't think I could have shown fava beans and not made a Hannibal Lecter or at least a Chianti reference. I don't think I've ever eaten fava beans before, and that's the first thing I think about. Am I weird? Don't answer that. To BC now, where the early July heat wave had devastating impacts on the bird population, and a bird of prey rehab center went above and beyond to help out.
You have to hand feed them at this point.
These osprey chicks are being fed fish along with saline water at the Sorco Raptor Rehab Center, and they're lucky to be alive.
It's very hard to see them in the condition that they're in. Come on.
Their poor condition due to last week's historic and unprecedented heat wave that scorched the Okanagan with 40-plus temperatures.
It was a serious impact on them. It's all baby birds that we got that couldn't handle the heat, and the parents were having trouble keeping up feeding them.
The Okanagan's only birds of prey rehabilitation center rescuing 40 birds in just 48 hours. Unfortunately, some birds did not survive the extreme heat, dying of heat exhaustion, dehydration, and starvation.
We've never seen anything like this in our 33 years of operating.
At greatest threat, baby ospreys living high up on nesting platforms near Fortis BC power lines. The company taking the rare step of intervening to save some of the baby birds in distress.
We were able to get up in our bucket trucks. I just really wanted to emphasize it's very unusual for us to be able to do that.
Meanwhile, Sorco is scrambling to care for the influx of birds. The Oliver-based nonprofit says any monetary donations would help cover food costs. The good news is that all rescued birds are expected to make a full recovery.
They will all be released back to the wild.
Shelby Tom, Global News.
It was well documented the impact the heat wave had on humans, but I think the effect on animals wasn't really top of mind for most people. I'm glad that story shed some light on the issue, and kudos to everyone who stepped in to help those baby ospreys. The Olympics start in less than 2 weeks. Now, I've been featuring different athletes in my Training for Tokyo series, but right now, here's a look at a Canadian equestrian competitor and her horse, Pavarotti.
When it's just Pavarotti and I competing together, it's like being with my best friend. It's amazing. It just feels like we know each other so well, and he's just as competitive as I am.
Jessica Phoenix first met Pavarotti when he was 9 years old. The Canadian equestrian says it was love at first sight, and the duo has had an incredible journey together.
The first year I got him, we went to the Pan American Games in Guadalajara and we won the gold medal individually and the silver as a team. And our career has just been like unbelievable over the past 10 years. And it's just such an honor to be able to represent Canada with him at these Olympic Games.
The Cannington, Ontario resident is preparing for her third Olympic Games. She's currently in Connecticut for her final training session with Pavarotti. The horse and rider will fly overseas later this week.
When you get to be on the world stage and compete against the best people in the world, there is nothing like it. It's when my true competitive nature comes out, and it's something that I look forward to every single day.
It's been a unique year leading up to the Games. Phoenix usually spends her winters competing in Florida. But with travel restrictions in place because of the pandemic, the 37-year-old stayed home, which she says has worked to her benefit.
This was an exceptional winter because we could really train and not compete as much. And when you have that opportunity, it allows you to get to the root of some issues that you would normally just kind of have to fluff over because you'd be showing so consistently.
The extra time to train with Pavarotti is paying off. Phoenix says the 19-year-old horse is in the best shape, which is important as this will likely be his last Olympics.
He's just like a fine wine. We sometimes refer to him as Benjamin Buttons because he just gets better with age, and he's got such an incredible personality, and he's just so competitive.
The pair is hoping for a top 10 finish. Their 3-day competition starts on July 30th. Megan Roy, Global News.
Well, I am officially a Pavarotti fan. Let's hope he and Jessica can reach the podium in Tokyo. That's it for the Cross Canada Spotlight this week. Be sure to watch Global News Weekend Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the Global TV app. For now, stay tuned for more news and weather.